Yeah, that's for you. I'm sorry, I forgot. I was doing regular work today. I have a real life outside of doing comedy and podcasts.
Word.
And I was doing that today, and I forgot the other headphones because they were in my bag for
That's
my other job.
okay. You hear me? Can you hear me?
I think I can. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Keep talking. I'm just gonna get the levels
1,
right.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. A, B, C, D.
Wait, talk loud for a second.
Talk loud for a second. No, that's too loud.
That was too loud.
So sorry.
So, however loud you just talk, let's try not to do that again. Okay. But if you do it again, that's on me for not bringing the other headphones. That's the reason why you wear headphones during these things. You hear if you're too loud or because like a lot of times, like it's not a problem with stand-ups because like stand-ups, they know they keep the mic so close to their, but like you can hear the echo of yourself in the room. It's like, I'm talking too loud. I'm not talking loud enough. And that's what the headphones are for. So, you don't do stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to just keep it right here so it can stay level. Is that okay?
Well, keep it wherever you want to keep it because I've made the mistakes you haven't. I forgot the headphones because then I don't have to tell people if they're, you want to wear the headphones?
No, I do not.
Well, yeah, these headphones are like 5 years old and this is Ashleigh Branch. What's the name? This is Ashleigh Branch. So this is like a podcast about podcasts. This is a John Reynolds podcasting for stand-ups, aka the Walk the Crowd podcast, aka the podcast about podcasts. I don't have any more AKAs. So what's the name of your podcast?
The name of my podcast is Women, Wives, and Moms.
That is deep.
So it's so deep.
You're like teaching like the youth. Like you're like really out there with your podcast.
No. Basically, okay, so I had a podcast previous to that.
Yeah.
And it was called Mommy Logs.
That's what I thought the name of your podcast was. I'm glad I didn't just guess.
But it was very exclusive because it makes it seem like the only people that should be interested or on it are mommies.
Yeah.
But that's not it.
There's a lot more to life.
There's a lot more to life, exactly. So what I did was I changed it to Women, Wives, and Moms because not only so being a woman is a lot.
Yeah.
By itself.
I've never done it.
No, I didn't want to, but here I am.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times women, not all the time, but some of the time, women aspire to be someone's wife.
Yeah.
And then once you become a wife, sometimes you become a mom. And there were steps along the way in each facet of my life, like just becoming a woman or, becoming a wife. Nobody talked to me about much of nothing.
Nothing. Nothing. Oh, wait, how many? So like now you have the original podcast. It was Mommy Logs. Now you have the new podcast. So like that one's are they this? Do you consider them an extension of each other? Are they sequels? Okay, so an extension. So like all together, how many episodes have you done so far?
I don't know.
Is it over 10? Is it over 50?
It's over 10. It's over 10.
Well, it's at least 10 because I've seen 10. But like, how do you keep consistent? How do you keep finding new guests to be on the show?
Oh, you said the C word.
What's the C? What's the C word?
Consistent.
If you're over 10, it's consistent because this podcast is over a year old. This is like episode number 6. Okay. So once every 2 months, that's when we do this.
Okay, so here's the deal. Like you said, life, right? Life. So the name of my podcast is Women, Wives, and Moms.
Yes.
If I did not have any kids and if I wasn't married, I still have a job. And that job is teaching. And that job sucks the life force. Out of me.
Just sucked.
I am also a wife.
Yeah.
And my husband sucks the life force out of in a good way.
In a good way. He's a soul sucker?
Yeah.
Wow. That would explain all the kids.
It does explain them. But but if I wasn't a wife, I'm a mom. And that, anywho, trying to do the podcast in all of those facets of my life.
Yeah.
It's really hard, and I have something that I have. It's a condition that I am constantly chasing dopamine.
Oh yeah.
And if something does not fulfill that dopamine,
bring you the immediate joys.
I typically don't do it, even if it makes sense to do. Like, my brain will say, Ashley, you need to check your emails because people are responding to your request to be on your rinky-dink show. And I have had 3 people respond, and I opened my email, and they responded like weeks ago. And I'm sorry, I had to send out apology letters and everything.
Apology letters?
Yeah.
So like, you have people like asking to be on your show. So
no, I am asking, and they respond.
Wait, Wait, so you're late to...
I am late to my
Running
own
a
party.
podcast is hard, so we don't feel bad that we do this once every 2 months. Because it could be worse. We could actually have people who wanted to do it and we couldn't get back to them.
But I got back to them, and I'm going to do better. I'm working on it.
And so, like, are all of the guests, are they all moms?
No. So it's called Women, Wives, and Moms. So I've had Laura Sanders on.
Yeah.
Because she's a woman,
She is,
at least to
in
my
fact,
knowledge.
As far as I know.
And I've had Nita Sharice, who is a
woman and a mom
wife,
and a
mom. And I had my homegirl Iz on there, who is a woman and a mom.
Nice.
But it's not just for women. It's for guys, too, because...
That's how we learn about women.
Exactly.
We need that.
So the purpose of my podcast is educational and fun, because nobody wants to sit and hear people drone on about... the work of a woman and, body parts. And
some people might want to do that.
I don't. But there's also a disconnect especially in heterosexual relationships. Like, moms will tell girls about their bodies and then how to deal with men and in relation to their own bodies.
Yeah.
Moms don't tell their sons about women's bodies because everything to men...
My mom definitely didn't.
Oh, man. But everything to men about women's bodies outside of let me stick my thing in your thing is gross. You're on your period. Why are you doing that? Do you want a baby? I can give you one, and then I won't have a period for a whole year.
So, when did you start this podcast? Like, when did you start it? Like, was this a pre-COVID thing? Something you were kicking around for a while? Or you were stuck inside like everybody else? Like, I'm recording things.
I started the podcast Mommy Logs in 2019.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I need to do better research.
No, you listen. I don't remember damn near. You saw I had to go in the Rolodex in my brain.
Yeah.
So I started. Well, my husband is very supportive.
Oh yeah.
To the point of...
I saw that like photo you took where you were like somewhat nude and he was holding up your boobs. He's very supportive,
very
man.
Supportive. I mean,
maybe I can edit in that photo.
You should.
Well, as Catchy Boy is a copyright.
You might just credit her,
Yeah, we're going to do that.
She's amazing because I had no makeup on but lipstick. And she made me look beautiful. The only thing she airbrushed was my pits because I didn't know I was going to not have on clothes.
And then your dear husband, who's very supportive, supports your boobs in the photo. I didn't realize that's as close as me and him have ever come to meet. And I saw his hands holding your boobs.
You never met Brian Day?
I might have. I wouldn't know. I assume he's a giant also.
I'm bigger than my husband.
Well, he's probably taller. You're also like 6'4". So he's taller than me. And so
I am not that tall.
You start the Mommy Logs. You're at home. You have this very supportive husband, and you go, "I got an idea." And then what? And then how does the Mommy Logs come about?
The idea wasn't mine.
Wait, it was his?
It was his. He's always like...
So I should be interviewing him right now.
You should interview him.
All right, cool.
But we're complete opposites. Okay? I'm like, sunshine, rainbows, ha 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 ha, funny. Songs and jokes.
And he's like, what?
Dark storm clouds. I am the Batman.
But how does he come up with such an inspirational idea for a podcast? And if he's curmudgeon,
he lives with me.
He knew it would make you happy.
It wasn't about happiness, more so of enterprise, because he thinks I am marketable.
He is correct.
I still don't see it.
And yet, here you are on some episode past episode 10 of the Mommy Log. Like, how do you record? Like, what is like? Do you just use a cell phone? Do you have microphones? Like I see a lot of them are Zooms. Like, how did you figure out how you're going to actually do the technical aspects of it?
Initially, when I started doing Mommy Logs, it is on an H5.
H5. Oh, okay. We don't have an H5 here.
It's kind of like this though.
Same brand, Zoom H5.
Right.
I have something similar. I have a DR40X, but that's not with me today. So H5, we're gonna remember that.
I have an H5, and I would hook it up to a thing in my closet.
Yeah.
And it's hot in there.
Yeah.
And I would just, that was the quietest spot in my house, because I have kids, and I have to do everything behind closed doors. Anyway, so I would go in the closet, and like I would write down like topics I wanted to hit on.
We got topics. We don't do topics on this show, but topics. See, this is how you get a real podcast with real listeners.
No,
right
listen,
here.
but
right here.
I would write down something.
Yes.
So I might talk about, like, I had really big babies.
I've seen them. They're huge. I think one of your kids is my height.
That's probably Aubrey. She's big.
I'm 5'10".
And she's 8.
Yeah.
I like to educate people through humor.
Yeah.
So the thing that I like to advocate for is women knowing their rights as mothers during childbirth while they're in the hospital, because especially Black women, they will tell you things like, you have to have a C-section, you have to get Pitocin, or you have to do the. And so one day I decided to tell the whole and real true story of my middle child's birth, who was 12 pounds.
Yeah.
I almost died. Like, I really literally, like, I joke about it, but I really almost died.
I don't know a lot about babies, but I think I was a premature baby. I think I was like 5 pounds.
But that's like a normal size.
But no, like, that's what I'm saying is like just comparing to what I know, 12 sounds like a very large baby.
So 12 is a very large baby.
So.
She was so large that I assumed it was not mine.
You thought it was an adult?
I thought it was an adult. I tell this joke on stage, but I had like a panic attack because I was like, I know how y'all do, Black women. Y'all be switching their babies out. And first of all, this baby looked Chinese. So, she was fat. She was full. You know, babies look ugly when they born. They look like newborn baby birds.
This baby doing algebra. This ain't my baby.
She was like holding her head up and doing push-ups in the hospital, and I was just like, this is not my child.
This baby laid on her taxes. This ain't my baby.
She called the Uber to leave. She called. I see. Look at her. Look, do you see her?
She in here. They ain't even card her.
They wouldn't let me go home. They wouldn't let me go home because she had ravaged my nipples.
Ravaged?
Like, when they pull babies out of your womb, a lot of the times they're like, the baby is traumatized. They went from a nice, warm, quiet space to, it's a girl in lights and somebody just grabbing on you. And then that's why they cry. They'd be like, what? I was asleep. What is this? It's cold up in here. Who running this? And then they look around and they be like, put me back, just because I can't do this. So that's why babies cry.
Wait. And so was this your first episode of the Mommy Logs? You just came out swinging with this material?
The first episode was, okay, so what I decided to do was, I have 3 daughters.
Yeah.
And so I started a podcast August 2019.
All right.
That's my birthday month. So the first podcast was just an introduction. Like, hey, my name is Ashleigh Branch. I have kids. I no longer have a life. I can't do anything on my own. I'm just playing. And, just like, what's the podcast going to be about? What they can expect. Don't expect anything. And because it's going to be wrong.
Yeah.
And just introducing myself. That was the first podcast. My birthday is August 31st. So each child got 10 episodes.
Each child got 10 episodes.
So I had stories for each of them.
So we have some ballpark of how many you have. You have at least 30 episodes.
Yes.
So that's pretty consistent since 2009. That's more consistent than this one is. So that's...
I mean, comparison, don't compare.
I'm not comparing. That's what this whole podcast is about. We're comparing about how crappy this podcast is versus our guests. And we're trying to get on their level.
Don't get
And also still their fans.
I mean, also still the fan. Or I can steal your fan.
Well, that's also the point because, so that's a good question. So, like, where all do you publish this podcast? Like, I've only seen it on Facebook, but now you're saying you started off with an H5. That means you have an audio version of it somewhere out there that's purely audio?
Mm-hmm. So, the audio version is, I use Podbean. Uh-huh. So, like, I think Apple... all those little random podcast things, Like Apple is on the Apple podcast. It's
Google Podcast.
Google. I think it's other places.
But you just do that. You just upload it to Podbeam, and then it shoots it to all those places. How did you settle on Podbeam?
My husband does all the research.
So you have like a producer, basically.
He is like my manager producer.
A manager, and that's a good relationship.
And this is my personal camera person.
Well, your personal camera person. Okay, I wish I had. I don't have any of this. We're doing this on a mobile phone.
Well, this is my homegirl.
She shows up with like her own team. She's got like a network of people. They're in the back waving her off from questions like, "Don't answer that question."
He's lying.
She's like Hillary Clinton in here.
There's no pizza place with pedophiles in it. Okay? No, we're not in that pizza place.
I don't even. So this lady is filming us. I don't even see her holding the camera. She's holding what looks like a 4-in-1 ink pen and pointing it at me. And I guess that's a camera in 2022.
An awesome camera.
Well, I'm mad. It's better. Put the camera in. Just put your hand in the fit. Just put it in there.
Show what it is.
This is how they do. When you have a real podcast, you have a person who just follows you through life with one of these things.
I feel like Messy Maya. Follow me, camera roll. Follow me, camera roll.
I'm gonna book this hoe. You didn't know I knew about Messy Maya, did you?
No.
See, I'm hip. I'm down with the game.
You're down with the cool people.
So now we know, like, so. Have you interviewed somebody that you didn't know personally before you interviewed them yet? Have you reached out to that? Because I know you've interviewed a lot of your friends.
No. And the reason why I haven't is because of the C word again.
Remind me of the C word. I'm black. I don't know all these words.
Consistency.
I thought you were going to say the other C word. Okay, keep going.
Cunt, the one that doesn't bother us and none whatsoever. I said it. I'm a woman. I can say it.
Normally you can't curse on this podcast. I can say it too because I
don't
don't know what it means. All I know is if you say this word, white women are going to start swinging. That's all I know about this word.
The first time I heard the word was when I was working at ESPN.
And who said it?
Some...
Go ahead and put somebody on front. Was it Stephen
A. Smith? I don't remember his name.
Was it Stephen A. Smith?
No. It was
Was it Max Kellerman?
No.
Who was it?
It was a highlight director. You know the highlights you see after the game? There's an actual director that's telling the production assistant.
Those highlights are kind of lit sometimes. So
that's because we sitting there. You think when you work at ESPN, I'm gonna just sit and watch games all day. No, you have to watch the game.
Even enough women working at ESPN to drop a C-bomb?
Yes.
This was like 10 years ago.
Right. Well,
who was he talking about then?
The other highlight director, because she was a hard ass and like she was. Yes.
Consistent?
She was very consistent. She was extremely consistent.
She's a very consistent woman.
She was too consistent. But what were we talking?
You were talking about the C word.
Oh,
not consistent.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing is, I haven't reached out to. I know people who are like prominent.
Yeah.
And I can get them on the podcast. I don't want to look foolish.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't want to look I don't want to look flaky.
You want to have your game up to the standards of the other podcasts they normally do.
Right.
When you call them. I get
that. But if I call my friends, they know I'm a flake. Like, my homegirl here gets mad at me all the time because I don't answer my phone. Not on purpose. I just never know where it is.
True.
Ever. Know where it is.
When will you know that you're at that level to start shooting for not bigger fish, but fish outside of your immediate circle, like people who might have name recognition outside of New Orleans? Like, when do you feel that you'll be ready to start reaching out to your contacts?
It's not so much being ready, more so than a reward-based system. Yeah. So if I can be consistent and have 20 consistent episodes, I'll call. There's a doctor named Dr. Laparollery.
Yeah.
She delivered Frankie. She delivered my last baby. And she's the only doctor in New Orleans that was willing to deliver her. Most other doctors was just like, nah, we're just going to cut you in half and take the baby out.
You're talking about like the C-section business, yeah.
Right. So now I want to get her on, but I want... If I reach out to somebody and I say, I want you on a Women, Wives, and Moms podcast, I want them to be able to see a consistency.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, like, they'll see, like, oh, she had a episode up last year, now she got one, like, I'm not going to waste my time with it. That's the thing I'm trying to avoid. So, but the thing that I want to share is, like, every woman has a different experience with different things. I also want to extend it to men so that men can share their viewpoint and so that women can better understand them in heterosexual relationships. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So I'm want to use my podcast to empower people, to, you know, educate people, and like to bring like a cohesiveness. Like there's a divide because there's a lack of understanding. But if you understand somebody's situation or their path, or, you know, what they could be going through, then you are more empathetic to the things they go through. The disconnect between men and women is that women feel like, well, shit, I go to work on my period, I go to work pregnant, I go to work, you know, hurt, I take care of kids, and I go to work, we do all these things. Like I play ball, and like I play ball sick, I play ball, you know, and so when my husband complains about being sick, I'm like, nobody cares, bro. Like, don't nobody care. But then I think about literally and physiologically speaking, women do have a higher pain tolerance than men.
Yeah.
So when my husband says, I don't feel good, he doesn't feel good.
Okay, so I see where you're going with this now, and the level of empathy that you're trying to impart upon your listeners. And
then, like, the things, like I said, growing up, there are parts of my body I didn't know existed until there was a person living inside me, and that's too late.
I don't know what to do with that. Keep going.
So, like, I knew that my actual genitals comprised of more than just my vagina.
Yeah. That was not me. I don't know where that's coming from. We're getting some feedback going on. Oh, they're doing the show in this room. Okay, great. I guess we need to wrap this up. We had a little. They're doing the mic check.
Listen, I'm tall. They start shooting. They got a lot.
So here's the thing. With a lot of times with comics, you might notice I always do this on. Normally, 90% of the time I do this on location, and the reason why I do it on location is the only time to catch up with these people. They have day jobs, they have children, they have husbands, they have wives, and the only time to catch up with them is right before a comedy show or right after a comedy show. So they're actually doing the mic check right now for this comedy show. Who all is going to be in this comedy show? She doesn't know. She has no idea.
My spirit left my body.
That was some gnarly feedback. We're going to have B-Dub get paid. We're going to have
I'm going
Ashleigh
home.
Branch.
I'm not going to be here.
What's his name? Young guy. Young
about
gunner.
Duke?
Duke Raleigh. And we're going to have headlining. We're going to have Troy Duchesne's going to be in this. Troy Duchesne. They got a lot of young guns in here.
Y'all,
so
can I apologize to y'all? I'm sorry, Duke. Because for whatever reason, in my head, your name is Duke Riley, and I'm sorry.
I say Duke Riley, but it is spelled Riley. He's got an Irish man somewhere in his background.
He kind of light-skinned.
I'm from New Orleans. Everybody's light-skinned. I'm dark-skinned. Everybody's light-skinned to me.
It's my summer skin.
I didn't realize that I wasn't the darkest man on the planet until I moved to D.C. and I met dudes from Cameroon.
Oh no, you light skinned
in Cameroon. I am medium. I'm still not light skinned. I'm medium skinned in Cameroon.
You are medium skinned. You are not a black man. You are brown. You do not get to say you are black.
We have like the paper bag test in New Orleans. They have the dark chocolate test in Cameroon.
What is this? No,
you are lighter than a Hershey's.
You must turn it around. You are a slave man's child. Go away. Go away from me now.
Your last name is something like
Williams.
Johnson Williams. No,
Every
we do
black
not.
person's last name is Johnson, Williams, or Jones. Smith. Argue with your mom.
Well, we can be mad about that, but when you do the numbers.
My last name used to be Williams. Damn. 8-Dub. He's coming 8-Dub.
So tell them where they can find your podcast.
Oh, I'm so goddamn right.
You can find their podcast on Apple. Mm-hmm. You can find it on Google, anywhere you get podcasts. But you also have a video. I'm pretty sure YouTube. Mm-hmm. That's where we're going to be at. YouTube, maybe even Facebook a little bit.
Facebook, YouTube.
What's the new name of the podcast?
The new name of the podcast?
I was going to say Mommy Logs, but that's
it
not
used to be Mommy Logs.
Use your NPR voice. We need an NPR voice. We never had an NPR voice on here. Go for it.
Hi, my name is Ashleigh Branch, and my first podcast name was Mommy Logs. Now it's called Women, Wives, and Moms. More inclusive, more information, more laughs. Check it out. How's that?
Yeah. So not only can she do the comedy, she does the improv, and now we know she could be an NPR radio host, so she can do the voice acting. This is Ashleigh Branch. This is John Reynolds. Walk the Crowd podcast, aka podcasting for stand-ups, aka we don't have any other names. Thank you guys. That was awesome.
Peace.